action figures in play!
Welcome to the newest edition of TNInews with your host, JC.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Hold on a second. I'm not sure where that music is. Sorry about that. Anyway, what's up, everybody? JC here, and welcome to another live stream. Now, one thing, I made the mistake. I'm wearing a green shirt, and I keep seeing like these little pixels as I move closer to the camera, and I think it's because it thinks it's like a green screen or something. So if I start to turn transparent, I do apologize for that. But what is up, everybody? Another live stream news video, Wednesday edition. And honestly, there's not been a whole lot of news since I talked to you guys on Monday, but a couple of things we can go over. I also have a package that arrived from Big Bad Toy Store, so I thought I would open that up here today. And then I thought for our main topic of discussion, we can talk about crowdsourcing, all these crowdsourcing items, and perhaps we're seeing signs that crowdsourcing bubble is about to burst, or kind of that come to an end. So I thought that would be kind of our main topic. But let us do a quick roll call, see who's in the house today. So Natural Nate Marvel is in the house. What's up? Zim is in the house. Good to see you. Judge Dreads, good to see you. Good to see you, Mr. 77.7. Mr. Allmine. Oh, dude. If you haven't checked, you might want to go over to the Toy News International forums and check your inbox, dude. T-Glue is in the house. What is up? Was Comic-Con enjoyable? Yeah, I had a pretty good time with it. It was busy, very busy, and expensive, but I had a pretty good time with it. Martinez, what is up? The Ruckus is in the house. Good to see you, my friend. Hope all is going well with you and your YouTube channel. Let's see. MK Solid's in the house. Good to see you. Stinky Cat. Love the Dr. Mindbender avatar there. Good to see you. John is in the house. What is up? Jeremy is in the house. What's up? So, yeah. I'd be interested to know what, so this week we got the announcement, as far as crowdsourcings go. We got the announcement from McFarlane that DC Superpowers 1 was extended. It was supposed to end this week. Nowhere near its funding goal. We've talked about this one before. So, pop over. So a lot of people, were wondering why Todd even did a crowdsource for these items. It's not the typical type of thing that you see. All right, there we go. So it has been extended. Originally it was going to end this week. I think today was originally going to be the last day. Actually, I think it was tomorrow. But now it's been extended to August 22nd. Now, this thing, minimum funding goal is $600,000. It's only at $144,000. I don't care if you extended this thing for 3 more months. I don't think it would matter. I don't think this thing's going to reach its minimum funding goal. So I'm not really sure why they extended it. I'm just getting a text here. If you still need the Warbird Target figure, the Marvel Legend Warbird figure, sorry, I'm going to jump over here, but it looks like it is available again on Target's website. So I know we had talked about this one before. So if you still need this one, again, it is currently right now in stock on the Target, or available to buy on Target's website to have it shipped to you. You can check and see if you've got a store near you that has it as well. But again, right now, if you still need this figure, it is currently available. Actually, mine just arrived the other day, so it's a pretty nice figure. So again, if you need that one, it is available for you. But let's get back into the McFarlane news. So anyway, they extended this thing, but like I say, I don't think they could extend it for several months, and I don't think it's going to reach its goal. So I'm not really sure what the thinking was to extend it, why they just didn't cancel it, regroup, maybe reoffer it as just regular releases. I heard several people told me that Todd said at Comic-Con that they were just going to release these anyway, no matter what. And he didn't say that in the panel, so I don't know where he said that. I'm not saying he didn't say it, because I've seen Todd just say things that come to his mind, and it wouldn't surprise me if he said it. But I think if they just did that, if they just said, you know what, we didn't even come close to reaching our goal, but we're going to still give this to people who backed it anyway, it would hurt their credibility for future crowdsourcing items. And of course, they've already announced that sometime this month, they're supposed to finally be launching that Medieval Spawn Kickstarter. So I don't think, if they really wanted to keep doing these crowdsourcing things, them just saying, you know what, we're going to just offer it anyway, would be a great idea. That being said, Todd has said a couple of different times on this Medieval Spawn Kickstarter that essentially they've already gone into production for this thing, so that there won't be a huge window for this thing to ship out to people once the Kickstarter is over. So I don't know, I've said this before, that kind of defeats the whole purpose of a Kickstarter, which is supposed to be basically you get the money first and then you move into production. If you've already got the money and you're already moving into production, I mean, what happens if it doesn't get crowdfunded? I mean, that would be kind of stupid. So if you've got the money, if you've already put the money into it, you're already moving into production of the figure, why are you doing a Kickstarter to begin with? It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Maybe Todd doesn't truly grasp what Kickstarters are supposed to be. I don't know. But, he said that a couple of times about this Medieval Spawn figure, which, of course, he announced like 4 years ago. And we're still waiting for it to actually launch, which, as I said, is supposed to be sometime this month. Now, another one of these crowdsourcing items I want to talk about was the upcoming Mattel one for the Snake Lair, which, I'm seeing a lot of people, indicating that they're not too fond of this, that they weren't very happy with how this one turned out. So this was a fan channel thing. This really doesn't look like the concept art that they put out for it. And, and it's, we don't have an actual official price yet, but they put out that survey last week asking if you would be willing to spend $300 for this thing, which would suggest that's the price that they're considering. And my guess is they got a lot of people that said, no, I would not pay $300 for this. So, what happens with this? Are they going to go back to the drawing board? That seems kind of unlikely, since they seem to be pretty far along with it. Again, we saw it on display at Comic-Con. So do they move forward with it? Do they tweak it a little bit? Throw in some extra add-ons and keep it at the $300 price? Do they scrap it all together? I don't know. I mean, as of right now, I'm going with the assumption that they will launch this crowdsource on the Mattel Creations website on August 12th, as they advertised. But I feel like there might be some scrambling going on at Mattel, that this was not as well received as they were hoping it was going to be. So I don't know. We'll have to see how that one plays out. We've got, of course, the Cobra Rattler, which has been fun. It's reached its funding goal. It's reached its first stretch goal. We're still waiting to get to the 14,000. Where are we at on this one? So right now we still got a little over 1,000 to go. We got 12,997. We need 14,000 to unlock the stretch goal number 2, which is the gunner figure. We've got that first stretch goal with the patches that I don't think anyone really cares about, but we've got stretch goal number 2 that's just over 1,000 that we need. And I mean, I still, it's not moving quite as fast as I think the Dragonfly funded faster, including the stretch goals. But I still not worried about this. Not again, it's already reached its minimum goal, and I'm not worried about it not getting to the stretch goals before it's done. We still got over 33 days, but it has slowed down a little bit from like last year's Haslab, I think, if I remember correctly. And then of course we just had the Star Wars Cantina Haslab, and that got funded, but it did not unlock all the stretch goals for that one. So, that one struggled a little bit. It only got, what, 2 of the 3 stretch goals, and 2 of those stretch goals only got unlocked at the very last minute. So that one only ended up with 14,737. And it needed, let's see, for stretch goal 3, forget how many backers it needed for stretch goal 3. I don't know if they took down that information when it ended, because I don't see the number. But I want to say it was at least 1,000 off, maybe even 2,000 off from getting stretch goal 3. Oh, sorry, it's in the title. So 17,000 is what was needed for stretch goal 3, and again, we only got 14,737. So we just barely got over stretch goal 2 on this Cantina one, because stretch goal 2 got unlocked at 14. So that one again struggled a little bit. So I don't know. I'm just kind of seeing like it seems to be getting harder and harder for companies to get these things backed. And I don't know if it's money, if it's that what they're picking is just not as enticing, or maybe a combination of both. And then of course we have Dragon Man, which is Hasbro seems to be possibly moving away from Haslab's experimenting with Dragon Man for Marvel Legends this year, doing the made to pre-order model, as we've talked about. So we still don't know when the pre-order window for this is going to launch, or how much it's going to be. I saw Dan Yun today teasing it a little bit with a picture from San Diego. But again, this is kind of an indication that Hasbro is, maybe thinking about moving away from the Haslab model and doing just straight up made to pre-orders, which, as I've talked about in the past, there's not a huge difference between the two. A lot of it is just marketing terminology, but there are some differences. Turtle Buster says Ghostbusters gets the worst stretch goals with their Haslabs. And we've got that's coming up later this year, or we assume it does. They at least were teasing it a month or so ago, so I assume that will still happen. Like I feel like the Hasbro, like I feel like when this year started, there was going to be a Marvel Legend Haslab. I feel like that change to go to the made to pre-order with the Dragon Man was almost like a last minute type thing, like change. Almost to the point where I wonder if there was something that they were developing for Haslab this year, like maybe a Fing Fang Foom, but they got to a point where they thought either A, it was going to cost too much and so it wouldn't get funded, or that people just wouldn't go for it, and so they changed their mind. I mean, that's my speculation, not based on anything other than just it seemed like there was going to be a Marvel Legend Haslab this year, and then kind of last minute at San Diego, they're like, "Yeah, we're not going to do a Marvel Legend Haslab this year." Derek says, "I'm worried that we will never get a new Fing Fang film." It's hard to say, honestly. I think we could get one, but I don't think it'll end up being that much different from the Build-A-Figure that they did. Maybe a teeny bit bigger, but I don't expect it to be drastically different if we ever do get a Fing Fang Foom to be different. It'll be more expensive, but I don't expect it to be drastically different from what we've already got. A Ruben Flores. I did. Well, I got one on pre-order. I don't have it in hand yet. It won't, according to the site, it won't come. I won't get mine until September 15th. But that whole thing was a definite clusterfuck. I, I mean, I swear to God, Hasbro Pulse, it felt like over the last several days, Hasbro Pulse is being run by monkeys or something, because it's just like all the miscommunication. You know, we had pre-orders for Once a Man Cobra Commander that, you know, they didn't even fish, like, so for those of you not following, the other day, they announced last minute they were putting up their San Diego Comic-Con exclusives on Hasbro Pulse on Monday. They waited until Monday morning, made the official announcement, and then put them up later that morning. So they didn't give people very much, you know, advance time to know that it was going up for pre-order. So then, and you know, those of you that were on the live stream on Monday, we were live streaming as all this happened. You know, the stuff went up, and Cobra Commander sold out almost instantly, like under 3 minutes. The other stuff was available longer, but and it was pretty clear that it was in stock stuff. So basically, the leftover inventory from the actual convention that they brought back, and they then went to online to sell. So then later in the day, you know, we were live when all that happened, and I said during the video, I was like, let's see now if Hasbro's going to flip to a made to pre-order type thing and offer, you know, like Cobra Commander to those who, you know, missed out on the, you know, ones that were actually in stock. And that's what they ended up doing. Though they didn't publicly announce it, they slipped it up on their on the actual listings. So it started, instead of saying sold out, it said coming soon, pre-order on the next day. First of all, it said 8 a.m. And then later they changed it to 11 a.m. And then the next day came, and all of a sudden people were starting to be able to buy it at 8 a.m., which looked like was through some type of glitch in the site. So then they removed the listing completely from the site, and then it went back up at 11 a.m. and sold out once again, a pre-order no less, in like 5 minutes. So, and then I even saw today where I saw people kept saying, "Oh, Cobra Commander is available again." Of course, you'd click on it and it would say sold out. So I don't know what was up with that, but yeah, it was a mess. But I was able yesterday, was able to get, when it went up at 11 a.m., I was able to get my pre-order in. And so unless they cancel it or something, I should have it next month. And I don't know why, if you're going to start doing the pre-order thing, which I think is fine, but why not just keep the pre-order open I mean, I guess they had maybe another batch that they had already had in production. Because I mean, obviously, if I'm going to get my figure in September, while it's not actually in stock right now, obviously it's already well under production. Like this next wave is or assortment that they're going to get is already well under production if they're going to be able to ship them out in essentially a month's time frame. So if they were completely going back and having a new batch created from scratch, it would be longer than 1 month. So, but I don't know why they don't just do like a made to pre-order and keep the pre-orders open long enough for everybody who wants one to get one, and then which they have done that in the past, but this time it looks like maybe they had a backup assortment that was already in production, and that's what they opened the pre-orders up for yesterday, which again they quickly sold out. And then the 5 limit. I mean, what one person needs 5 once-a-man Cobra Commanders? I mean, I could see 2. I could see buying one for, to keep in the package and one to open. I might even give you 3. One to open, one to keep in the package, one to, give to a buddy or something. But 5, one person doesn't need 5. So I don't know why they made the limit so, the minimum number so large, for something that they really obviously didn't have a ton of to sell to begin with. So that to me was kind of crazy. If it's like a Haslab or made to pre-order where it doesn't matter how many you order, everyone else can still, as long as you're pre-ordering in that window, you can still get it, then 5 is fine. Even if it's to resell later at, a higher price, that's fine, because those people aren't preventing you from getting the figure at cost yourself. But if you only have a limited number, why you're leaving your your minimum number to 5 just seems ridiculous to me. They said 2 for something like that seems completely appropriate, and maybe you could get away with 3, but 5, just like I said, that's just kind of ridiculous. Judge Dreads, I predict Dragon Man will be another clusterfuck. I mean, Dragon Man to me is likely going to go like a Haslab as far as like the pre-order process and everything. So that's not something I don't think you're going to have to worry about it selling out, because again, it's a made to pre-order. So they're just going to keep the pre-order for however many weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, I'm guessing. And then anyone who wants to pre-order it can pre-order it. Now, I'm going to assume there will be people who come in late, after the pre-order window closes, and are going to be upset that they can't get Dragon Man anymore, because if you don't pre-order in the window, you don't get it. So that will definitely happen. But as far as the actual pre-order process for Dragon Man, I don't see that being any different than what we see with most Haslabs. It's not a case where they only have a limited number of them and they're going to quickly sell out, probably to a lot of them selling out to scalpers and stuff, as opposed to actual collectors. Judge Dreads, I finally ordered Death's Head on Big Bad Toy Store. I never wanted the Coco. Well, Judge Dredd, that one, like I say, we knew, well, I felt pretty sure that was going to be offered elsewhere besides Big Bad Toy Store. At least I was sure until that morning, and places like Big Bad Toy Store were telling me that they didn't have any word from Hasbro that they were going to be offering it. And then Hasbro at the last minutes contacted the e-tailers and said, oh, by the way, you can put this up for pre-order at 7 p.m. later today. And even that, there seemed to have been some miscommunication, because some retailers ended up putting up the figure early that day, and then they ended up having to pull them, and then they put them back up at 7 p.m. Eastern time. MK Solid, no idea whatsoever. Todd talked about it during his panel at Comic-Con, but he didn't give any details. He just talked about how reasoning, saying, things like, again, it was already they had already moved forward with the production of it so that there wouldn't be a window. He talked about like some of the features of the figure, like the magnetic chest plates and things like that, but he didn't give any details on cost or stretch goals or anything like that, or even a specific date for when it will launch. Just said August. And I'm wondering, now that they've extended the DC Superpower crowdsourcing until August 22nd, is that going to further delay the Medieval Spawn Kickstarter from launching? I don't know. I mean, they could still launch it in August, but if they're going to wait until the DC one ends, it's going to be the very end of August before we see the Medieval Spawn launch. And I feel like they're not going to try and launch a second crowdsource Kickstarter while they have one going with the DC Superpower one. Jay's Toys Collection UK, what's up? Hope Dragon Man is a pre-order, but pay when it ships as if it paid. So as it was explained to me by Hasbro at Comic-Con, it should work very similar to the Haslab as far as when you get charged. So there will be that stated pre-order window, which again I'm guessing is going to be 2 to 3 weeks, and you will not actually get charged until the pre-order window closes. So essentially, just like with the Haslab, you don't get charged until they know that the campaign is being funded and it actually closes. That's when you get charged. It's essentially going to be the same thing with Dragon Man. You'll place even if you place the pre-order on the first day, you won't get charged until that pre-order window opens or closes, I should say. Probably because, again, while there is not going to be a stated minimum number needed for it to move forward, there is a minimum number, because if they have to get a certain number in order to justify the cost of moving into the production phase. So just like with the Haslab, they're just not telling us what that number is. So is really the big difference. But if by some chance they didn't get enough orders for Dragon Man and they ended up having to cancel, everybody's pre-order, they basically don't want to have taken everybody's money and have to refund them. So they're not going to charge you until they know for sure that they've got enough orders to actually move ahead with the production. So again, the way it was explained to me is when you pre-order it, you will not actually get charged. They won't actually take the money until the pre-order window closes. And still have no idea what the cost of Dragon Man is going to be, though. My guess is still in at least that, I'm still going with $100 is my guess on the price for Dragon Man. And if anything, if 100 is kind of my minimum, I could see it possibly being higher, but I see it more possible that it's higher than 100 than lower than 100. But still, I'm shooting for that middle of $100. Jay says, so if that's the case, it's just yes. And I've said this. There is very little difference between the Dragon Man made to pre-order and an actual Haslab. The two big differences are they are not stating the minimum number of backers needed, and there's no stretch goals. Otherwise, it is almost identical to how a Haslab works. So yes, it is very much, we're talking marketing terminology in a lot of ways with this stuff, but the two things are very similar. So you have to pre-order it in the window or you won't be able to get it. You're not going to be charged until the pre-order window closes. And again, there is a stated goal, but they're just not going to tell us. It's probably a more flexible goal than what an actual Haslab would be. So they have maybe a little more leeway. They don't want to have it set in stone type of thing. But there is, again, if they didn't get enough pre-orders to be able to justify the cost of making the figure, they would then come back and say, we've got to cancel everybody's pre-order, which is pretty typical for any kind of made to pre-order, whether it's Super 7, and we've seen Super 7 cancel stuff when they didn't get enough orders, when they opened pre-orders for some of their ultimates and they didn't get enough orders. And so then they have to come back and say, we're not moving forward with it. Well, that's why they didn't get enough orders to justify the cost of making the figures. And so they had to cancel. So that's a pretty standard thing with any kind of made to pre-order. It's just they're not with the Haslab. They state it publicly, and then they have the stretch goals, which again we will not be getting stretch goals with the Dragon Man. And I would say MCR, it's more the Haslab is a made to pre-order model with a few differences. I view the Haslab more as a made to pre-order model than the made to pre-order model as the Haslab. But again, very similar between the two things. The original idea behind Kickstarters, I don't think was necessarily just to be a made to pre-order. It was small guys who truly didn't have funding to be able to move forward with whatever their project was. And so the idea was they try and sell you on their project so that you give essentially a true Kickstarter is more like somebody seeking out investors in their project. That, instead of going to a bank or, a capital firm or something to get business capital to make their product, which is, how business used to work. You come up with a business plan, you go to like a bank or an investor and you say, this is what I want to make. This is why it will be successful. This is why you will be able to make your money back plus some, yada, yada, yada. With the Kickstarter, you as the individual person is kind of becoming the investor. They're trying to sell you on the idea that this is a project worth backing, that it will get enough funding to move forward, yada, yada, yada. But with these larger companies, as they started to move in and do their own crowdsourcing, it was very much more of we just want to reduce our risk and we don't want to move into production on something that we're not sure is going to sell well enough. And so we want to make sure we have the guaranteed orders in place before we actually move into production. So that's how I've always viewed it. Jeremy says, I wish Super 7 would produce their Ultimates faster than waiting for a year. But, well, according to Brian Flynn, they are trying to move away from the pre-order model, which is essentially everything Super 7 does has essentially been a made to pre-order model, which is what, and a lot of small companies do that because they can't afford to go into production on something unless they have enough guaranteed sales to justify it. So, it's a pretty common thing especially with smaller companies, but Super 7 has stated on multiple occasions that they are trying to move away from that pre-order model, which essentially means you're going to get less advance notice about the product. But the upside to it is, the window between when you're made aware of the product and you can pre-order it and when it actually ships to you will be small. I don't know. I don't have a huge problem with the pre-order, made to pre-order model. It can be annoying when, you pay for something and you don't get it until, a year later. So I get that. But I also, like to know, okay, this is what's coming. This is what I'm putting my money towards, as opposed to, last minute and have to decide whether I want to buy it. So I don't know. There's give and take on both sides of that. Martin Resner, Wave 9 of superpowers are they have a classic Superman because the Wave 1 Superman head sculpt is terrible. Are you asking if they have I lose track on which waves. Wave 8 was the last one that was officially announced, if I remember correctly. That's the one with the Fleischer Superman and the Batman that it's kind of like chase figures or something. Skunk Life Media. Nothing is guaranteed until it's coming off the factory line. That is true. I mean, until it's actually in I would even go as far as say, until it's actually in your hand, nothing is 100% guaranteed. But talking large items, are you in for the D&D Dragon? Tiamat cost was higher than I thought, but no. Not because I think it's a bad figure. It looks pretty cool, but I'm just not big enough into Dungeons and Dragons. Like and maybe I was one of the few people, but I liked Hasbro's Dungeons and Dragons animated line. It wasn't perfect. Some of the articulation was definitely limited, but it was fairly affordable and it looks good on my shelf. And that's really all I needed from that line. I wouldn't have minded seeing Hasbro do a few additional characters, but like I'm probably not going to collect the Super 7 Ultimate ones because they're much more expensive. They're probably better figures, don't get me wrong, but just because I'm just not a big enough fan. So the dragon to me is not worth it. It's not articulated. It's a vinyl tape. Well, there's might be some minimal articulation, but it's not highly articulated. It's mostly a vinyl figure. I'm sure it'll look good with the figures. I did not get a chance to see that one in person myself because it was they had it over in their pop-up store outside of the convention hall, and I was never able myself to get over to the pop-up store to see it in person. So I didn't get to see that one in person. I've just seen the images like you guys have. Shartimus actually went over on preview night and took pictures of that for us. So thanks to him for doing that. Super 7 almost had me on that Cobra Mothership. The Cobra Mothership, I think what killed that one was the price and the scale. I just don't think the demand for 3 3/4 inch stuff is as great as it once was. I think many Joe fans have moved on to 6 inch stuff. So I think the size of it, the price of it, and I think the price was the biggest killer on that one. And then just because I just don't think there's as many 3 3/4 inch collectors out there. Not saying there's not any, there definitely is, but just comparatively speaking, I think a lot of Joe fans have moved on to 6 inch for the 3 3/4 inch. But I think again the biggest killer with that was just the price. And like I did not back Super 7's Thundercat Slayer, and that is one that I feel like someday I'm going to regret. Um, because when people start getting that in hand, that is something I was really tempted to get, but it was just price and more so even space. I there was just no way where I was going to be able to put the Thundercat Lair, so I didn't end up backing that. But that's one where I feel like I'm going to have some remorse when I start seeing people get it because I thought it was really cool. I just had nowhere to put it. All right, so as I said, I got a new package from Big Bad Toy Store that came in. So thought I'd go and open this up today. And this always happens. So like not like 2 hours after I had this, like, with for those of you familiar with Big Bad Toy Store's pile of loot, you choose to when you want to have it mailed to you. So I had waited until after Comic-Con to have this sent because just in case more stuff came in stock. And so, but I'd gotten home and nothing more had come in stock. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to go on and have this batch of stuff sent to me. And then, not like 2 hours later, I get these notifications from Big Bad Toy Store that more stuff was about to come in stock. I was like, oh, that always happens. Again, if you see like I don't know if you guys see it on your end, but if you see like weird stuff popping up on my shirt, I apologize. It's a green shirt, and I didn't think about. And the camera's like seeing it as like a green screen or something. All right, so this is one I've been waiting for, the 86 series Dinobot Swoop. So the final Dinobot to go into my Studio Series collection. Now I just need Bombshell that has been on back order at Entertainment Earth for like months. So, and he's sold out everywhere else. The Insecticon Bombshell. I'm still waiting on that one. G.I. Joe Classified Jinx. Another one I've been highly anticipating, G.I. Joe Classified Doc. And then finally in this box, the new Masters of the Universe Masterverse Skeletor with Throne. So I'm actually going to open this one. So this one I got primarily for the Throne. I've got a decent Skeletor figure. But I wanted this Throne. So the old box within a box. So there's the artwork. They always do nice artwork on these Masters of the Universe, Masterverse figures. Now, I do not have the Masters of the Universe Classics Snake Mountain playset that Super 7 did. That's another one that I've regretted not getting, but I didn't get because of, again, space. Right now we have a box within a box within a box. So this is the Throne, which looks like some assembly required. And then the figure. And I can't say this figure to me, like this figure doesn't do much for me. Like I said, I really didn't get it for the figure. I got it for the Throne. We got individually packaged parts. So these are the flames. Bone parts. The actual chair portion. The base. And these do have working lights. I don't think the batteries are in it, so I'm not going to be able to show you that. But these actually are supposed to light up. You can see the battery. Some more parts. Fur piece. This thing. And snakes to go around the lanterns. Oh, and Skeletor staff. And an instruction sheet. All right, so without looking at the instructions, I'm going to speculate that this snaps in here. Like so. Oops. Right. So, not exactly sure how that works. So these pieces snap in there. I'm not sure how these pieces. Oh, I see. So the head just pops in on top, and then that clicks in place back there. And then this is just the seat cushion. I feel like Skeletor ripped off Grizzler's hide to use as a seat cushion. There you go. So pretty cool, especially with the light. Oh, and then so we've got the flames. So these are the lights. And the flames just go over, pop in place. And then these snake head pieces pop in the back. So pretty cool. And you do have some foot pegs, so when you sit the figure in, you can plug the feet in, which would be nice. Let me get a Skeletor figure. So this is this Skeletor is looking all trans. I don't know. I don't know if that's if you looks all funny in my camera. So sorry if that's not coming out good. But so this isn't the figure that comes with it, but is this figure bigger? Because they taped a soft goods key. Yeah, whoever decided to tape the soft goods key. So this is the figure that comes with it. And is about the same. They're about the same height. Sit him in there. I like the cape, but I don't like this chest piece. There he goes. But to me, the highlight of this is not the figure; it's the throne itself. So. Comic says determined to wait to ship my pile of loot until 4 big wolves get in there. Beck says, "What's going on?" I told you, it's green, so, and I didn't think about it, and so the camera is like treating it like a green screen. So like I'm turning see-through, I guess. So I apologize for that. Note, don't wear green shirts in live streams going forward. And yeah, the Skeletor face. Yeah, because again, it's green. So yeah, it is kind of scary. Looks like his face is being eaten away. That's actually kind of cool. All right, well, that is pretty much all I have for you guys today. Like I said, not a whole lot of news since Wednesday or Monday, I should say. And kind of as I said before, this month is kind of slow as companies get back from Comic-Con and kind of reset. So not a whole lot of news going on. Those premium DNA Battletoads and Barnyard Commandos are on sale. I saw that. Yeah, I mean, I haven't heard anything bad about those figures. So, if you're into those Battletoads and stuff, yep, they're running a sale. So you might want to check that out. Sean Logan says he's late, but I'm with your brothers or his brother. So welcome to you, Sean, and your brother. Judge Dress, I'm about to be my It's kind of how. Yep. And the shirt doesn't even look green. Like from what I can see, the shirt looks more blue in the screen, but it's a green. This is like a dark green shirt. My baby Yoda. But yeah, anyway, so thank guys for coming in today. It's always appreciated. I will just check. Sorry, just checking. Quick message. But yeah, so thank you guys for coming in today. Friday will be a regular pre-recorded video per usual. We'll be back to our regular schedule. Next week I'll forego the green shirt. And you guys stay safe out there. And until next time, guys, I will catch you later. Thanks for watching today's video. Now, if you're new to the channel, please think about hitting that subscribe button. Also hit the bell notification so you're alerted every time I upload a new video. For all the latest action figure news, be sure to head over to toynewseye.com, marvelousnews.com, JediInsider.com, and tformers.com. And remember, action figures are great,